Okay, so I want to ask you about this what was a moment in your life where you had to move out in like as a big choice that you had to make in your life?
All right, so the biggest one that I can remember is about the time when I was in the US. So at that point of time, I was about 28 and I just married my wife and haven't got any children yet. So at the time that I was sent to work in the US. And after 2 years, finally, I got the job offer that I can stay there in the US. So that if I can pursue that kind of option, then I can become a US citizen after 10 years or so, going through the green card kind of that process. They call it the American dream, right? Everyone wants to move and to live in the US. And at that point of time, I have that opportunity. But the thing is that I don't feel that I like it, and I keep holding on to it without making the decision whether I want to stay or not for a long time. And I remember at that time, every weekend, I used to drive from San Diego to a small island called Colorado, very nearby San Diego. And usually I could do the jogging there and then reading and then just sit next to the beach and thinking about my life. So the main question is about whether I want to stay in the US or not. It was very hard for me to answer that question. And one day when I was sitting on the beach, then there is another question, kind of like supportive question, then popping up in my mind. And the question is, how do I define my home country? And at that moment, I realized that I define whether my parents-in-law, my relatives, and my friends who stay the most, and I would define it as my home country. And I don't see it very near to the U.S. because I don't see a lot of the chance that I would move my parents or move my parent-in-law into the US in the next 10 or 20 years or so. So the answer is very clearly that my home country is somewhere in Vietnam. And then after that moment, I make my very big decision of my life is that I move back to Vietnam without any further thinking or whatever. And I live happily after that, after I moved back to Vietnam, dropping the American dream kind of things on the back, on behind, and then I live in Vietnam since there happily, give birth to my child, Joy, and then we are all happy after that. That is my biggest decision ever in my life, and the driver, the motivation behind that.